Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. We're still sounding like Emperor Palpatine, we're still sitting here like he is, after he's attacked and is like, "Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate, show no mercy." Let me know if that was any good. But, I think the next couple weeks are going to be extremely important because right now, CG is not in a great place. They've already delayed the next raid due to bandwidth issues with the new era system where they're trying to release more characters. And the characters that they've released so far are not really that great. There are still some glaring issues with the Spectre team and it not working properly. And the vibe that I'm getting from the player base and from other people, involved is that these next couple of weeks are going to be extremely important for them to get back on the right track. So we're going to get into what that looks like. And then obviously, as we move into the next era, as we move into the next phases, what I'm hoping to see change. So go ahead, guys, like and subscribe, comment down below. Let's give a shout out to our channel members, as always, for their continued support. If you're ever interested, link down below, along with link to Discord. I can't thank these guys enough for their patronage, their support, and their friendship, most of all. You guys are, very much part of that Fat Phil family, and I love you, even if you are a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Very much love you guys. You guys are just the best group that I could have asked for, and I really appreciate you all. So let's get in here. Let's talk about some Swiggo. All right, so why are these next few weeks going to be so important? Let's just start off with the Bad Batch. So far, this is a very underwhelming release. I don't think many players are impressed with their performance. I don't think many people are rushing to 7-star these units because they're not leading to a legendary. And so a lot of us are just kind of feeling like this was like a holdover. That they're trying to just release these things and then move on, right? Like, it almost feels like I bet you if it wasn't for them trying to stick to the era system, they'd have released the entire Bad Batch by now and then tried to get into the next thing. Because it's just, so far, I think the general opinion would say we're not fans of this. And maybe that's a little bit of bias from me because I didn't love the Bad Batch show. I thought it was okay, but I would say it was closer to the Book of Boba Fett than it was to, say, the Clone Wars, right? And obviously on my rating scale, the Acolyte just does not exist. But that's kind of a problem for Capital Games because this is the first era that they've had of the new, the episode system and everything. And this Bad Batch one was supposed to really be the kickoff, the send-off of everything. And so far, it just hasn't gone to plan. So I would say this is definitely hoping to turn around. And maybe it turns around in the final characters that are released. That they kind of round out the team and really make it tick and click. Because with the original Bad Batch, it definitely took us that third character, and even, the fourth and Wrecker, Wrecker I think was the last one that, we finally saw the full picture, we finally got the entire thing, and they turned into a great team. But I think we did get there with 3 original Bad Batch units, and I think now we're kind of waiting on that fourth to really make this team into what it hopefully will become. So I do think that these next few Bad Batch units are going to be extremely important because if they're hits, that's great for CG and hopefully drives up revenue. If not, then they're going to really have to make sure that these next units that they release with Jedi Vanguards go well, because otherwise you're going to have a bunch of duds come into the game in a row. And to give them a little bit of credit, I would say the last time that they really whiffed on a character was the Stap. Like, if we really deep dove into things, I think the Stap was the last time that they released a unit that just really was kind of more of a swing and a miss. And the Stap is good, right? I'm not going to say it's good with its Omicron, but I don't think it changed General Grievous enough for the vast majority of the player base to want to invest in this thing. I feel like the Omicron for the Stap could have been given to one of the other Separatist characters in that team, and you would have had a much better response from the community. So I just think the Stap really was that last time that they had whiffed on something, because in between there you have Gungans, Queen Amidala, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon, Morgan, Great Mothers, the Imperial Remnants. Like, those are all banger units. They've done a really good job lately. And so you can almost give them a pass for the Bad Batch. But when it's an entire team, it kind of stings a little bit. So I would say that's a big thing that is something they really need to make sure either they get right or they figure out. And as I had mentioned, there's some glaring issues with the Spectre team where it's not really operating to its fullest potential. And this is a problem for kind of two major reasons. The first is, did you test it? Like, it should not have made its way into the game unless it was working properly. But on the other side of this as well, this team is already operating at a very high level. Like, especially I'd say with their Omicrons, they're operating at a really high level already. You know, they're beating some of the really best teams. They are absolutely posing a threat. You know, you go to your squad arenas and they're just constantly, you know, all over the place. It's kind of scary, right? So I have this, I don't want to say fear, but I think it's going to be very important that either they address that they don't want to fix it right now because they're pleased, or, hey, we are going to fix it and it's going to make her ridiculously good. So, I think they want to make sure with these next releases that there's not glaring bugs and glaring problems. Because as a player, I can tell you I'm getting pretty tired of things not working the way that they should. Think of how long that you couldn't really use TIE Defender against Executor because it wasn't gaining taunt properly. Like, it was a mess, right? So I hope that they do the right things and fix stuff, and that we can get the game in a spot where there's not bugs that we're just waiting to get fixed. But the last thing that I need us to kind of consider here is that the other thing that's kind of posing a problem is the raid system. You know, if we keep getting a raid every 6 to 9 months, eventually they're going to have to start reusing characters. And then that gets even more boring, right? So I feel like the next raid needs to be something that can last a little bit, that has some longevity, that they could keep it around for like a year while they hopefully figure out what they want their next raid system to be. Because I don't know that continuing to release raids like this is going to be the smartest decision long term. And I say that, you know, the next raid just needs to be, you know, a good release. It can 1000% be like this. I just hope it's one that has room for them to leave it go for a while. Like the Naboo raid for me, with the changes they made, I can stomach it going longer. But I would hope that if the next raid is one that they plan to run longer, that they make those fixes a little bit earlier. Because I can tell you that I'm just sick of Naboo raid at this point, and it's easy to do now. And I'm still sick of it because of all the time I had spent prior to the fixes coming in. So I do think that in the next few weeks, once this next raid gets announced, it's going to be really important that they get it right. And I'm hoping that this time that they're letting the Naboo raid run longer, I'm hoping it's allowing them to really put the fine and finishing touches on that raid. I really hope that we get an awesome one right off the bat with very little to no fixes necessary. I think that would go a long way in giving the community some hope that you guys are really looking at stuff and trying to make sure that when it comes out to us, it's the best possible product. And I'm not saying that that isn't always there, but let's be real. Some of the times things come in and it looks like it was not tested at all. So I really hope that that's what's kind of taking this next raid a little bit to come into the game, is trying to make sure that we fine tune it. So those are just a couple of things that I think are really important as we head into the next couple of weeks of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.